You know, the situation when you have a lot of things to complete, your to-do list is full of tasks, but you kind of don't know where to start, and the tasks seem to be overwhelming for you. You find any reason not to start what is truly important, and instead you're just kind of busy being busy.
Pretend to go to work now.
Today, I want to share you the method that helps me to overcome this issue. The method that takes just 5 minutes but works like magic. Hi guys, I'm Lisev, and this channel is all about helping you to improve every aspect of your life. The reason I'm going giveaway on the channel, so don't miss your chance. The rules are very simple and the link is down below. Now, back to business. I have to make a confession. I can tell you all day about some productivity tricks or dealing with procrastination, but the truth is I only need those things because of one reason. I'm lazy. Yes, I want to cross out as many points of my to-do lists as possible. I want to achieve my goals as fast as possible. I'm very excited about starting something new, but when it actually comes to doing stuff, that's when the whole find an excuse not to do it right now story begins. I say, well, it doesn't really matter if I start now or 15 minutes later, so let me just grab my phone and check whether the end of the world has happened and I don't know about it. Or let me just play some chess games to get in the good mood, or basically whatever it can be that is more interesting right now instead of really smashing my goals for the day. And then, as you might imagine, first of all, those 15 minutes might easily turn out into an hour or even the whole day. And secondly, even if I do start working on the important stuff, some energy is gone, some time is gone, and the chances are it might not follow the path I really hoped for. At the end of the day, I check my to-do list and feel very disappointed. That gives me a feeling of guilt, because instead of feeling very productive, I feel like a big lazy pig. Well, maybe not that big, but you get my point. Then it's even more difficult for me to start the next day in the productive manner. So the problem grows like a snowball. Write in the comments, please, whether you have experienced this situation, and if yes, how you deal with it. It would be very interesting for me to know. As it's the opposite of the life I wanted to live, I have started to look for a way to deal with it somehow, to really push myself. I had those times when I woke up as early as at 5 AM and immediately started to do as much as possible. I thought, well, if I'm already not sleeping so early, I can't really spoil it doing irrelevant stuff. And you know what? This other extreme lifestyle really worked for me for some time. I achieved some incredible results with it and really hope to get back to it once I and my body are ready for it. The problem is, at some point I started to feel exhausted and I just couldn't continue. So, as everything in our life, I decided that my routine should be balanced, not too lazy, not too overwhelming. I wake up relatively early, I have my to-do list, and I use a 5-minute rule. And this is the rule that I want to share with you today, because I truly believe that it can help you to get the level of motivation and performance that you want. So, the idea is that instead of just looking at the huge tasks that has to be done, like writing a script for the video or preparing for the exam, I prefer to focus on the initial goal, which is just do it for 5 minutes. It's not too difficult to do pretty much anything for 5 minutes. I mean, maybe there are some exceptions. And the point is, the beginning is the most difficult part. Once I have started it, it's much simpler to continue. I'm already interested in the tasks, my thoughts are all about it, and maybe I'm even in a flow state. It's a state when you're completely focused on something and can achieve your maximum performance. So basically, a 5-minute rule is a way to kind of trick your brain. Why is it needed? Well, because our brain is very lazy by nature. It has been evolved that way through millions of years of evolution. The initial concept was that you never knew when you can be attacked by a predator, so it made sense to save some energy for some unexpected and dangerous situations. Now we fortunately rarely have this type of situations, so we have to convince our brain to work when it's needed. And the 5-minute rule seems to be an effective way to do that. The plan is very simple. There is an action that you have to perform, let's say running. You know that it's gonna be great for you, it's gonna keep you in shape, maybe it's gonna help you to get rid of the undesired overweight or just bring you more energy. So you know that in the long run it's really beneficial for you. But at this very moment it might be very overwhelming if, let's say, you need to run for 30 or 40 minutes. The thought makes you stressful and you decide to postpone the training. At least that is what happens to me pretty often. So instead, I suggest you make your goal to run for 5 minutes. Doesn't seem to be overwhelming at all, right? Just 5 minutes. If you decide that you want to stop after those 5 minutes, so be it. At least you have showed up, you did your training, and next time it's gonna be simpler for you. But my experience suggests if I'm already there running for 5 minutes, chances are I'm not gonna quit, because I'm thinking that if I already showed up, I have invested my time and effort, I might as well take everything I can out of it. So I run more, and I feel no pressure whatsoever as my initial goal is already achieved and I consider everything above that as a nice bonus. Of course, running is just an example here. You can apply this strategy to everything that you need to do but feel difficult to start. In fact, it's especially helpful in those situations when you don't really want to deal with it, but you have to. For example, I really like to study, but sometimes I feel like I don't have enough motivation for it. I think that it's gonna be really boring, so I put it away from the top of my schedule, and then it's really a bad strategy for me because every time I remember about it, it puts additional pressure on me. A much better strategy is eat that frog first, as Brian Tracy suggests in his book. The idea is that we should start our day with the most difficult tasks that we have, so once we are done with it, we can just enjoy the rest of the day without feeling any pressure. So I basically try to combine these two tricks, starting my day with the most difficult task and applying the 5-minute rule so I do start it. The most important thing for me here is to get engaged with the task somehow, to get some interest. Then it's much simpler to continue doing it, and also the chances are higher of achieving a great result if you're giving your 100% into it. I do also have an upper limit though. I don't spend more than 2 hours on a task per day, because I guess I'm just not that productive afterwards, so the time I invest into it doesn't really correspond to the result I get. Or at least I have to make a big break after those 2 working hours if I want to make it meaningful. Anyway, my point is that working more does not necessarily mean achieving more. As work accomplished equals time spent multiplied by intensity, I can sit there all day, but if my intensity is 0, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Instead, I choose relatively short but intense studying sessions. But no matter how long you work or study, there is always those 5 first minutes, so why not to make it your first priority, and the rest will follow on its own. It made my life significantly easier. Sometimes the whole thing might take not more than 5 minutes, but still feels to be unpleasant. Like a call that you have to make but you don't want to, or cleaning your working space a little bit. A bunch of those things can ruin your day if you think about it and it seems to be a burden for you. So a good rule here can be, if something takes less than 5 minutes but it has to be done, just don't bother writing it into your to-do list and do it immediately. I hope I've been of service to you today. If this video was helpful for you, I would highly appreciate your like. Subscribe to this channel if you want to get more useful tips like today. And of course, don't forget to take part in the giveaway. Here it is, by the way.